quick video that highlights everything about the CSU system. So let's go ahead and watch this quick little video.
Welcome to the California State University, home to the most ethnically, economically, and academically diverse student body in the United States. As the nation's largest four-year public university, the CSU provides extraordinary educational opportunities to 482,000 students on 23 campuses and 8 off-campus centers. Stretching from Humboldt State University in the north to San Diego State University in the south, the CSU annually confers some 127,000 degrees and boasts nearly 3.8 million living alumni. Nearly half of all the bachelor's degrees awarded in California are CSU degrees, and 1 in 10 California workers is a CSU graduate. In fact, 1 in 20 Americans holding a college degree is a graduate of the CSU. The CSU is also home to 53,000 employees, faculty and staff who are diverse, dedicated, and committed to student success. Their collective efforts, coupled with a bold vision of university leaders, ensure the quality and caliber of a CSU education remains world-class, regardless of how it is delivered. As the key to California's brightest and most hopeful future, the CSU offers educational opportunities that transform the lives of students and their families. Our unwavering focus on student success ensures we are fostering the next generation of leaders who will bring new vision and strength to their communities, to California, and indeed to our nation and the world.
All right, and that was a quick little taste of what the CSU system as a whole offers to our students. So you may be wondering, what is the CSU system? So we are the largest four-year public university with 23 campuses across the state of California. We pride ourselves on educating the most ethically, economically, and academically diverse student body in the nation. Our education is high quality, that focuses on hands-on learning, that is student-centered, which in turn prepares students for current and future workforce demands. Now, here's a little bit of information about the CSU system. Overall, 1 in 10 employees in California is a CSU graduate, and nearly half of the state's bachelor's degrees are awarded by the CSU system. The last time we checked, we had around 4 million living alumni across the globe, and that is something that we are very, very proud of here at the CSU system. 95% of all enrolled students come from California. 1/3 of undergraduates are the first in their families to attend college. We are literally built for California. So we very pride ourselves on the fact that we are very student-centered, and we really pride ourselves on helping our local communities. Now you may be wondering, where is the CSU system? So our campuses are located all across the state, from up north in Humboldt to down in the south in San Diego, with many campuses in between. Little fun fact about San Jose State, we are the #1 original CSU. So the CSU system was actually founded here at San Jose State. We are the first CSU campus in the system. Within the CSU system, we have different campuses with different sizes of student bodies. We have our CSU campuses that are small in class size to our medium and large CSU campuses. A few of our smaller campuses includes Channel Islands down in the south, Humboldt up north. Medium campuses include Dominguez Hills in SoCal and East Bay right here in the Bay Area. Finally, we have our large campuses that include San Diego and San Jose. And as you heard me mention, San Jose is the first and oldest CSU in the CSU system. Now you may be wondering, what are some opportunities that you may have within the CSU system? So we have multiple opportunities that are offered to our students, ranging from sports and activities, to clubs and student organization, to leadership and campus job opportunities. Each CSU campus has their own unique clubs and activities. The beauty about all of this is that no CSU is the same. We all have our own unique opportunities and offerings for our respective student bodies. So we're all within the same system, but we're all unique, that we offer our own opportunities and offerings to our students. In terms of living on campus, I do want to touch upon that. There are multiple benefits to living on campus. The main benefit is the convenience of being around everything that you need. I highly recommend that you check with each CSU campus for their individual live-in housing policies. Here at SJSU, students are not required to live on campus their first year. However, it is still a possibility to live on campus. So as you heard me mention, each CSU has their own different live-in housing policies. So I would highly encourage you all to check their live-in policies to make sure that you are in line with what they require. Now let's take a little bit about our freshman admission requirements. First of all, you must have a C- or better with all of your A through G courses. You must meet or exceed the minimum GPA of 2.5 or higher, and you must meet impaction. Each school has different impaction criteria. Please check with each individual CSU campus to see what it looks like for them. So the impaction criteria that we have at San Jose State will be different with the impaction criteria that, let's say, Cal Poly has. So please check with each individual CSU to see what their impaction criteria is. Now, you heard me mention A through G, and you may be wondering, what is A through G? Let me break it down for you. You must have 2 years of social sciences, 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 4 is preferred, 2 years of laboratory science, 3 years is preferred, 2 years of a language other than English, and it has to be 2 consecutive years. So for example, it has to be French 1, French 2. It can't be French 1, Spanish 1. It has to be 2 consecutive years. 1 year of visual and performing arts, and 1 year of electives. In addition, I also want to clarify that only 10 to 11th grade A through G courses will be used to calculate GPA for provisional admission. So again, 10 to 11th grade A through G courses will be used to calculate GPA for provisional admissions. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't look at your 12th grade. We will look at your 12th grade courses. However, for the purposes of admission, we will only look at 10 to 11th grade A through G courses. Depending on which CSU you commit to, then you would have to provide a final transcript, which we would then re-verify to make sure that you are still within the GPA and have completed all of your A through G. So this is why we say that your admission is provisional, as we will be looking at your 12th and 9th grade courses as well. In addition, the CSU system will consider grades of a credit or pass as fulfilling the A through G requirements for the winter through fall 2020 terms and winter through summer 2021 terms. All other coursework must be graded and must pass with a C- or better to satisfy A through G requirements. So again, we will be taking credit or pass between the winter to fall of 2020 terms and the winter through summer of 2021. I do want to take this time to give a few recommendations. A few recommendations that we give to any student that is considering applying to the CSU system is to enroll in a senior year English and math course. These include IB and AP courses. For the purposes of admission, we will not be looking at AP courses to determine if you are eligible for admission. So by that, I mean, we will use your AP courses to see if you qualify for a course that you don't have to take within the CSU system. If you are thinking of applying with an AP or IB course, you must have those scores be sent directly from the College Board to the CSU institution that you are committing to. In addition to that, I also want to clarify that test scores are not required to apply to any of the CSUs. You can still apply with a test score. However, it will not be used in the admissions process. In addition, breaking news, the CSU system will no longer require test scores moving forward. So we are officially going test optional as of the next following term. So again, you do not have to apply with a test score. You can still take it. However, it is not a requirement in the admissions process. Now, for students in California, they will be eligible for admissions by earning a 2.5 or greater A through G GPA. However, depending on the school's impaction criteria, having a minimum GPA does not guarantee admission to certain CSUs. Please check each CSU campus for their specific impaction criteria. So having the minimum 2.0 or 2.5 GPA, all your A through G completed, that still does not mean that you'll get guaranteed admission to the CSU system, depending on the CSU school that you apply to. Each CSU has different impaction criteria, so I would highly recommend that you investigate what their impaction criteria is prior to applying. For San Jose State, we are fully impacted across the board. So we are a fully impacted CSU here at San Jose State. Now, as you heard me mention, for provisional admissions, we will calculate the high school GPA of A through G using 10 to 11th grades. So again, it will be provisional admissions, and we will be looking at your 12th grades to make sure you are still completing your A through G, or that you have completed your A through G, and that you are still within the threshold GPA. If you do not meet A through G, or if you do not meet the threshold GPA, your admissions will be withdrawn. Now, you heard me mention impaction quite a few times. Let me break it down to you. Impaction is when a campus receives a greater number of applications from eligible students, but not enough spaces to offer admission for all of those students. I do want to clarify that impaction does not mean impossible. So don't feel that you won't be able to attend a CSU because of their impaction criteria. It does not mean that it is impossible. So please keep that in mind when you are applying. Here's a list of a few of our non-impacted campuses. So again, each impaction criteria is different between CSU campuses. So here that you see on screen are some of our non-impacted campuses within the CSU system. I'll give you a minute to just check that out. 1, 2, 3. All right. Moving forward. Now, here's our estimated 2021-2022 costs for students within the CSU system. As you can tell, it is very affordable to the quality of education that our students are receiving. So across the board here at San Jose State, our tuition for one full year is $7,852. Depending on your room and board, for example, if you choose a single, double, or triple, it really depends on how much you'll be paying for room and board. For transportation, it is included within your tuition here at San Jose State, and miscellaneous and personal is for any expenses that you might have, such as books, food, anything along those lines. So we're very, very affordable here within the CSU system. Now you may be wondering, great, I like the CSU system, I like certain campuses. How do I apply to the CSU system? So you would apply to the CSUs through the Cal State Apply. It is one application for all CSU campuses. The CSU applications opens up on October 1st and closes on November 30th. Certain CSU campuses may extend their deadlines to apply. However, I would check with each CSU campus to see if they have an extension on their deadline. Typically for San Jose State, our application closes on November 30th. However, this year we did extend it to December 15th. Again, this is on a case-by-case basis. So as you heard me mention, check with each CSU campus to see if they have an extension on their deadline. In a nutshell, the CSU system offers 4,100 plus undergraduate and grad degrees, and I recommend you visit calstate.edu/apply to explore the majors offered in all of the 23 CSU campuses. Now, as you heard me mention, it is one application for all 23 CSUs, and this is how your main login page will look like. And in your case, you will have to create an account with your personal email. Do not use your high school email, as you will lose that email after you graduate. Use your personal email. As again, you will not be able to have access to your high school email. So it's crucial that you create it with a personal email, as this is how you'll be able to log in and also get notifications from the Cal State Apply if you're missing any sort of document or if you haven't completed your application. Here's where you'll select and apply to your major of choice to your CSU campus of choice. You'll be able to search by program or by individual CSU campus. During the application period, certain CSUs will be hosting workshops on how to navigate through the Cal State Apply application. Here at San Jose State, we also offer this to our students who are interested in navigating through the Cal State Apply. We go in depth with a quick video that shows you how to go through each single step, how to select your major of choice, how to select your second major of choice, how to select your CSU campus of choice. And this is all offered by San Jose State. So each individual CSU will offer this during the application period. And in addition to this, if you do attend a San Jose State session, you will get certain tips that are specific to San Jose State. So again, certain CSUs will host these Cal State Apply workshops to make sure that you're getting a hands-on view on how to navigate through the application. And again, here's how your application looks like once you've created your account and you start filling out the different sections. There are 4 key sections you must fully complete before you can submit your application. I also want to clarify that there is a $70 fee to each school that you apply. However, at the end of the application, you can see if you qualify for a fee waiver. If you do qualify for a fee waiver, you can apply up to 4 schools with that fee waiver. Now, I do want to touch upon San Jose State very, very quickly before we move on. So a little bit about San Jose State. This is information specific only to San Jose State. Overall, we have 33,027 students. We are one of the largest CSU campus. However, don't fret, average class size at San Jose State University is around 29 to 32 students. So we have that medium class size here at San Jose State. We are actually ranked here at San Jose State. We are considered one of the most innovative schools among public universities. We currently rank 7th among top public universities in the Western US. In addition, our engineering program is ranked 4th in the nation. Animation is ranked 8th in the nation, and business is ranked 6th in the nation. We are very, very proud of our rankings and distinctions here at San Jose State. And I also want to say that we are the #1 most transformative university in the nation. And what this means is that as a community, we strive on having a social impact on our students and our local community. This moves our mission forward, that as a community, we focus on enriching the lives of San Jose State students. Here are a few of our majors that we offer at San Jose State. Top 5 majors being engineering, computer science, business, nursing, and animation. Little fun fact about animation, if you've ever seen The Incredibles, the final scene when Dash is running the race, there's a Spartan and a sign that says "Go Spartans." That is a nod to the animators that worked on the film. They are SJSU alums. This is also the #1 city for job seekers. Many alumni get opportunities to work at great companies that are right down the street. We're talking about companies such as Google, Cisco, Apple, as well as Zoom. These are some of the companies that hire many of our alumni and attend job/internship fairs that we host every semester. Before COVID, these companies would actually come on campus and they would actually host these events for our student body. Here's a quick little guide. If you scan this QR code, it leads you to our steps to admission. That gives you all the information I went over and a little bit more in-depth information that is specific to San Jose State. And again, if you do have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us. We are hosting in-person tours as well as in-person visits. So we are having walk-ins as well. So if you ever have a question in your local San Jose State, please come by our office. We are open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We also have a virtual front desk where if you do have any questions or concerns and you don't want to meet in person, you can meet through Zoom with one of our admissions counselors as well. Go ahead and check out our Instagram page at Future Spartans, our TikTok page. Yes, we have TikTok here at San Jose State, and also our Spartan podcast. You can also do a virtual tour at San Jose State, and we are hosting in-person tours as well. And with that being said, I'm done. Again, thank you so much for being here tonight. And I think the next one is Thomas. Is that right?
Thank you so much, Axel. Really appreciate that. Makes me want to go back to college. Laura, you are muted, but I think you are trying to introduce.
Of course.
Timothy,
Oh, I just
yes.
want to say, once again, it is being recorded. So just know that you will get the link to the link to the recording will be sent out. So our next speaker, Timothy Ford from UC Merced. Thank you, Timothy, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening, everyone, and welcome. Again, I'm delighted to be here. My name is Timothy Ford, and I serve as the Bay Area Admissions Advisor for the University of California at Merced. I've been at the University of California Merced's campus for over 6 years, and I am the Bay Area Advisor, so your initial point of contact for any questions that you may have pertaining to our campus specifically as related to admission questions, student life, financial aid, anything that you need to know about our campus. But today we're going to talk about the UC system in general, and I'm going to also draw some tidbits about our campus in the meantime as well. So first and foremost, the University of California. These are the key areas we're going to go over for this overview. We're going to talk about the system itself and the application, as well as first-year admissions. I'm going to touch briefly on transfer options as well, and then the value of the UC educational experience. So when we speak about the University of California, first and foremost, we are one university, the University of California, which is comprised of 9 undergraduate campuses to which you can apply to directly right out of high school. There are, however, 10 campuses in the entire UC system. The one campus that is not listed on this map would be our San Francisco location. And the reason being is the UC San Francisco campus is primarily our post-bac campus for health sciences, for those students who are pursuing an advanced degree in the health sciences. But one of the things to note on this specific map is that our campuses are spread throughout the state of California, each with their own geographic field, their different personality, as well as their different settings that pretty much makes up what California is known for as a whole. In addition to providing undergraduate studies, there are a few campuses that also offer medical centers, including UC San Francisco, UC San Diego, UCLA, UC Irvine, and UC Davis. There are also campuses which offer schools of law, that being UC Berkeley, Davis, Irvine, UCLA, and a small campus in San Francisco known as UC Hastings. So when you're applying to the University of California, the application opens every year, August 1st, and we allow ample time for students the ability to start working on the application, working on their personal insight questions, getting their personal information all inputted by the time that they're ready to apply. The filing period, however, is not until November 1st, and you will have between November 1 all the way to November 30th to actually file and submit your UC application. So although we open the application as early as August, you cannot submit it until the month of November. And keep visiting our websites because there is talk of possible changes occurring with submission periods. So we'll follow up with you on those. But as of right now, these are our filing periods. Application fees for the University of California, there's only one application that you're going to fill out. You can apply to as many campuses as you would like. Each campus that you apply to does require a $70 application fee for US students, California residents, as well as non-residents. For international applicants, it would be an $80 application fee. Fee waivers are available for California residents. If you do qualify for a California fee waiver, that will grant you up to 4 campuses to which you can apply to for free. Each campus beyond that 4th campus would require the $70 application fee at that time. And I also want to point out the fact that UC does not participate in early action or early decision programs. So we only have our one designated filing period and deadline. And we're very strict on deadlines when it comes to the UC system. When we mention November 30th, we do mean November 30th, 11:59 p.m., 59 seconds, Pacific Standard Time. So when you're considering the UCs, there are a lot of things you may want to definitely consider. Number one, what campus environment are you looking for? Are you looking to live in a city? A campus like UCLA or UC Berkeley might be ideal for you. Do you want to live by the beach? You may want to consider campuses like San Diego or Santa Barbara. You want to live in a forest setting? There's the beautiful campus in Santa Cruz. Then there are more rural campuses like UC Davis, as well as my campus, UC Merced. And our campus was born to increase access to UC eligible applicants and to also bring forth economic growth to the Central Valley community. UC Merced being the smallest campus, around 9,000 students. You also have larger campuses like UCLA, which has close to 40,000 students, and everything in between. So you definitely want to make sure you also consider the type of size of campuses to which you're going to be applying to. And do you want to live on campus? That's a key question. Many of our campuses offer housing guarantee programs. At UC Merced, for example, we don't require you to live on campus, but we do guarantee housing for 2 years for first-year applicants. And then, as I mentioned, is there a large graduate student population? Is that important to you? Many students like to be surrounded by graduate students. At a campus like UC Merced, being that we are the smallest, we also have a very small graduate student population. which in turn is a blessing for our students because it opens the doors for research to occur much earlier than what you would find in some of the larger UC campuses. But these are key questions you definitely want to make sure that you do ask as you go through this process. Now, UC supports all students. We have a range of support services from academic and personal counseling to financial aid and legal advising, just to name a few. And these can help students balance being a full-time student while at the same time handling their day-to-day challenges that some may definitely face in the process of being a student. In fact, every campus has designated staff or faculty members who can work with students to find the right support on each campus and answer those specific questions. And also our campuses have student groups, organizations, student clubs, where you can actually find encouraging peer network services as well. So as you can see in this particular slide here, we have support services for first-gen students, transfer students, students who identify as veterans, students with dependents, LGBT plus community, as well as students with disabilities, undocumented students, traditionally underrepresented, and our guardian scholars, as well as underground scholars, formerly those who come to the incarcerated or systems impacted system. So again, there is space for all students at the UCs. So now we're going to talk briefly about freshman admission. So what is a first-year freshman applicant? The definition of a first-year freshman applicant depends on one thing. Did you take college courses while still enrolled in high school, or did you take those college courses in a regular term after you graduated from high school? So if you have not yet graduated from high school and you've taken college courses, you are still deemed as a first-year freshman applicant. So we do allow you the ability to take courses while in high school, and we also allow you to take courses at the college level all the way through the summer after your high school graduation. So it's very common that you may come in with dual enrollment, for example, dual credit, I should say. It's very common amongst our students to have those credits as first-year applicants. So admissions to the UCs is a two-step process: eligibility and selection. So your A through G requirements, number one, is going to be one of the eligibility requirements. Very similar to the CSU system, we do require the A through Gs to be completed. Your Area A history must be at least 2 years required, including 1 year, full year of world history, and 1 full year of US history, or a semester of US history and a semester of civics. 4 years of English, 3 years of math with 4 being recommended, 2 years of a lab of science with 3 being recommended, 2 years of a language other than English, 3 recommended, and then your visual and performing arts of 1 year required. Your G could be your college preparatory elective, and any courses that are being completed beyond the minimum requirements in any of the A through F courses can definitely satisfy the G requirement as well. So if you've taken 4 years of mathematics, for example, that 4th year will meet the Area G requirement. The other major requirement is that you must have a minimum GPA of a 3.0 for a California resident. And these, of course, are calculated from your A3G courses following the summer after your 9th grade, all the way through the summer after your junior year. And then during the COVID semester terms, we have allowed for certain courses to be completed at the pass credit level in A through G, and that started for winter 2020 all the way through summer 21. Please keep in mind that pass credit grades are not factored into the GPAs. So if you have those requirements, then we have what is called you meeting eligibility requirements. But now we move to the next phase, which is called selection. Now, selection is made up of basically comprehensive reviews that all of our campuses utilize. We look at a number of key areas. One of these key areas we look at is what is called the eligibility in the local context. So if you're in the top 9% of your high school, or if you're in the top 9% of the statewide, these are one of the factors that we do consider as part of our selection criteria. Please keep in mind that each applicant pool is a little different at each UC campus, so it's imperative that you do apply broadly. Many of our campuses may exceed 100,000 plus applications per year, whereby other campuses may receive a smaller pool. But then you have to look at the idea of how does each campus then admit those students based on the applicant pool that is applying. So every campus will utilize the same comprehensive factors. However, each campus may vary in how they apply those selection factors. Some campuses may take into account your major, for example, whereby a campus like UC Merced, because of our size and the fact that we have space to accommodate a larger pool of applicants, we don't take into account your major. We just admit you directly to the campus if you meet our selection requirements. So comprehensive review will vary from campus to campus across the board. So some of the things that we do consider when looking at comprehensive review, we take into account your GPA, of course, your performance and number of A through G courses that you've completed. Are you challenging yourself with honors courses, AP courses, for example? Definitely want to make sure that you are taking advantage of all the resources available at your high school. We also look at your personal achievements, talents that you may possess, achievements, special awards. Maybe you founded a club at your high school. Maybe you are captain of the school basketball team. Maybe you went to regionals and received and won the championship. We want to know about those opportunities and awards and accolades that you've received. Participation in educational prep programs can be considered. If you're taking courses like AVID, for example, if you're involved in outside nonprofit organization college prep programs, that can also be factored into our selection. Of course, achievements in special projects, as well as academic accomplishments within life experiences. Another key requirement within the UC application is the personal insight questions. Now, there are 8 questions to consider. You will choose 4 out of the 8 to respond to. Each response is limited to 350 words, and these are questions that pretty much best define who you are to us as an applicant. All these questions have the same value, so don't think of this as a hierarchy that certain questions are more important than other questions. We encourage you to select the 4 questions that best represents who you are to us. Now, these are personal insight questions, meaning that they're meant to be short responses. They're not designed to be a personal essay. Now, many times we have students who think about writing these responses in creative formats, poetic formats. We're not looking for that in the UC system. Again, think of these as small, short interview questions and how you would respond to these questions as if you were in a live interview setting. So once again, you only limited to 350 words, short responses, not an essay, not a personal statement, just answers to these questions. Now, we are aware that many of our students do take time to go to a community college before they transfer to a UC, and that is a wonderful option for many of our students who choose to do so. And just to point out some key areas within that, if that is you, or you think about that, to transfer to the UCs, typically you would need to complete for requirements what is called the 7-course pattern. Think of these as breadth requirements. UC English courses as well as math courses, as well as a variety of social sciences, natural science courses as well. You must have at minimum at least 60 semester or 90 quarter UC transferable units achieved by the time that you apply to a UC for transferring. And the minimum GPA for a California resident is a 2.4, 2.8 for non-residents, but do keep in mind that certain majors will require a higher GPA, and that will vary from per campus. Selection, of course, is based on major preparation, making sure that you are taking the required courses at the community college to transfer directly into your major, having a competitive GPA, and also in some cases, maybe completing what is called the IGETC. Although this is not required for UC admissions, it may be considered by certain campuses based on your major. Now at UC Merced specifically, we're one of the campuses that also allows students to transfer much earlier than their 3rd year. So even if you complete at least 12 units, you can actually apply as a transfer applicant to UC Merced through our Lower Division process. We're one of the only UCs to offer that opportunity to our students. The UCs are also known for providing a transfer admission guarantee for 6 out of the 9 undergraduate campuses. So think of this as an early action idea for community college students. This is basically an idea to learn that you will have a guaranteed space at a UC campus much earlier if you're providing certain courses that are required, that you're completing those courses in a timely factor. You can definitely tag one UC campus and find out earlier if you have a guaranteed spot at that campus. And these are the 6 campuses that participate in that program. And then finally, I'd like to touch upon the value of a UC education. So when we're looking at the total budget in each UC setting, we're taking into account a number of key factors. Number one, your tuition and fees, your room and board, your health care and fees, books and supplies, personal transportation, as well as your personal expenditures. So these are just averages across the board for all 9 UC campuses, as you can see right here listed. So if you think about the total budget, roughly around $37,000 to $39,000, I will say, is an estimated budget. But I always like to tell students and families to not let that total budget figure ever deter you from considering applying to the UCs. There are a number of variables that can definitely occur and come into play. Your tuition and fees, that is a set cost to attend a UC campus. But your room and board, you can have a say in how you wish to apply those fees. The more roommates you have, for example, if you live in a quad or a triple room versus a double room, will save you substantially when it comes to your room and board. Your books and supplies, consider buying your books used versus brand new. You can save substantially. Personal transportation. Some campuses may not even allow you to have cars on campus your first year. UC Merced being one of those campuses. So that right there can save you in terms of parking, gas, transportation fees right there. Healthcare, that can be waived in many cases based on your parents' health insurance if you choose to remain on those health insurance. So what we want you to think about is not look at the total budget, but think about what the final net price will be after you've been awarded financial aid. In some cases, that final net cost is going to be way less than what you would see as the total budget listed there. And just to kind of give you some more quick information, here are some quick numbers. 49% of UC students have no debt. 55% of our student body have paid $0 in tuition. They've had enough financial aid to cover their tuition and fees, and then some. And 71% of UC students receive grants and scholarships. And here is the national average debt ratio. For the UC average, you can see 21,000 is our number. So again, don't let those costs ever be a deterrent factor from applying. Okay, at this point, that does conclude it for me. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague now from University of San Francisco. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, everyone. I think I'm the last college to present. My name is Alyssa. I'm one of the admission counselors here at the University of San Francisco. I'm going to be representing more of the private college system, how to, again, fill out the Common App, what are the differences between what we require and what other colleges require. So with that, let's get started. Just a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Alyssa. I'm one of the admission counselors. I did my undergraduate at UC Berkeley, so I stayed all pretty local in the Bay Area. And some fun facts about me is that although I am an admission counselor, I do help a lot with our social media team. I operate our TikTok account, USFCA_admission. And I always like to highlight this during presentation because, again, we give out a lot of free admissions advice that doesn't have to apply to USF. It can apply to a lot of colleges that you are looking at. And I just want to get all the information out there. And for anyone who's a Disney and Marvel enthusiast, you can always come and talk to me about those things. Alrighty, so let's get started. The University of San Francisco, we are a private Jesuit university located in the heart of San Francisco. Fun fact, St. Ignatius Church, that picture right there, that's actually the center point of San Francisco, so it's really cool. Our campus is about 55 acres, that it'll probably take you 15 to 20 minutes to make it around the entirety of campus. The only thing that's going to slow you down are those hills or the monstrous steps up to the Lone Mountain, I would say, office. That's where I work. 142 steps I have to climb every day. And no, it has not gotten any easier with practice. So with our medium-sized campus in an urban setting, our undergraduate population is about 6,500 students, growing closer to 7,000 students. So as our campus grows, we are also expanding beyond our regions. We just built a new dorm. It's gorgeous. We are also occupying more buildings in the city of San Francisco to accommodate these students that we are, again, welcoming to campus, but to also broaden the different areas that we would like to teach and further develop here at the university. Some fun facts for you all is that last year, the University of San Francisco got our rankings back, and we are actually the #1 university in terms of diversity. So we rank #1 nationally, and we are very proud of this title. Specifically as an admissions team, we are always looking to welcome as many students as we can from different backgrounds. When I talk about diversity, I don't just mean racially or ethnically. We are welcoming a lot of first-generation students. We are welcoming a lot of transfer students and international students. So when you come to the University of San Francisco, you are going to meet so many different people from all different types of backgrounds. And I honestly think that makes a holistic and well-rounded educational experience here at the university. Because as you are meeting all these people, you are then enriching your own education and just learning more about what different places have to offer. I also want to point out that 30% of our students are first generation students, which is really great. And looking at the fall 2021 class profile, you can see that we don't have a majority of one type of student. It is all, again, mostly in a diverse range, welcoming all different backgrounds. Alrighty, and just location-wise, we love to highlight exactly where we are in the city. We are about a 20 to 25-minute bus ride from downtown San Francisco. That's on the right side of the map. Those are the large, tall buildings that makes you feel like you're in a real city. But also, if you were to go to the purple patch on the left side of the map, we're about a 25, 30-minute bus ride from the ocean. So I like to describe San Francisco as a city that you can feel like you're in a big city like New York, but also we have a lot of pockets of nature that not a lot of people expect, and which I really love, because again, you just get to feel like you are not solely in a city. There's so much for everyone to do. And definitely our students at the university can attest that they are never bored. If there's not something going on campus on the weekends, there's definitely something going on in the city of San Francisco. So our students are always staying very well engaged with whatever is happening. Awesome. So looking at the university specifically, I want to talk just slightly about our colleges. The University of San Francisco has 5 colleges, but for today's presentation, we're going to focus on the top 3, looking at the College of Arts and Science, School of Nursing, and School of Management. The bottom 2, School of Education and School of Law, those are our graduate programs for students focusing on their masters. We included on this list because those schools are actually attached to the undergrad. We share the same campus. However, again, those are for continuing students going into their master's program. So if you are a student, a junior looking at college right now, and you're thinking, okay, I want to apply to USF, but what does that mean? Am I going to apply into the College of Arts and Science or Management? How do I do that? So essentially, for all majors other than nursing and engineering, you can really put down any major you'd like, and it's not going to affect your application whatsoever. So if you want to maybe be undeclared, that's totally fine. If you want to just leave some room and say, you know, maybe psychology will go in that direction, or maybe art history, you can put any of those down. And again, it will not affect your application. I did want to highlight that the university, we do have 2 impacted majors though, and that is going to be our nursing and engineering majors. The reason they are impacted, it means that only a certain amount of students can be a part of them. For nursing, we typically enroll about 120 students every cohort, and for engineering, it'll be around 35 to 40 students. So just to give you the general acceptance rate of all these numbers, the general acceptance rate to USF this past cycle was about 65%. For engineering, the acceptance rate dropped, meaning more students applied. So the acceptance rate is about 30% for engineering students. And for our nursing school, the acceptance rate continues to drop, meaning a lot of students are really applying. It was around 10 to 12% acceptance rate this year. So nursing is highly competitive compared to any other major here at USF. However, for our nursing and engineering students, we've actually added in a specific major, I would say, kind of backfall plan, where if you are applying to nursing or engineering, but you really also just want to apply to the university itself, we actually added into the Common App saying, if you are not accepted to either nursing or engineering, would you like to be considered for a second major? Some students either go similar to what nursing is that's either biology or chemistry, and engineering sometimes fall between CS, or maybe it could be something completely different. So we've actually added in that option this year, and it gives students another chance to be seen and recognized by the university. So one more time, just for parents and students alike, it really does not matter what major you apply into the university with. We aren't really looking at that only for nursing and engineering because they are impacted majors, meaning again that they are capped at a certain limit for what we can accept. Alrighty, so as I mentioned earlier, we do like to highlight our housing as well. What you are staring at specifically is our brand new housing dorm called Lone Mountain East. I've been inside, I've taken a tour myself, and I can vouch that it looks exactly like the pictures. It is gorgeous. It added a great amount of beds and rooms for our students. This actually means at the university, we can guarantee housing for the first and second year of living. Even so, junior and seniors are more than welcome to apply to housing on a space available basis of what we have, but with this new housing unit, it is more likely that they can get housing. Other than that, I would like to add in just the spectacular views of this dorm. It is gorgeous. The downside to this dorm is that it's only available to second, third, and fourth year. So if you were thinking that's exactly where I want to live freshman year, just hold on 1 year, just 1 year, and then you can live there. But we actually have all of the freshman dorms on main campus, which is really helpful because they're all right next to each other. They are all very close to your classes, literally the building over. So again, we put all the freshmen together as a bonding experience to make sure, this is your class. We want to make sure you know who your classmates are. And then sophomore year, if you want to apply to this lovely fancy dorm, you definitely can. Alrighty, so as I said earlier, we are the University of San Francisco representing more of the private college system. I'd like to highlight again what we look for on our applications and again what other similar private schools will do. So most importantly, as a private school, we utilize the Common Application. If you're not familiar with this application system, it's essentially an online system where you would go in, make an account, and as you make an account, you can filter through different colleges of what you'd like to apply for. So specifically, if you wanted to look for the University of San Francisco, you type in our name, click on us, and then you'd see our application pop up. Majority of the common applications between all colleges will be similar, and there are only few differing factors that I can point out later on. Specifically for us, though, we require an either unofficial or official transcript. Usually your high school counselor will send this to us, so not too much worry on that. What I do like to highlight is that if you are a dual enrollment student, meaning taking some community college courses during your time in high school, that's really awesome. We just have to see the transcript that you were taking those courses at a community college to be able to count it. A lot of students have emailed us saying, oh, I don't see my credits from community college courses on my portal. That's probably because we didn't see the original transcript that you took those courses. So again, just send those to us, official or unofficial, and we'll accept either. Test optional, one of the best parts of the presentation. The University of San Francisco, we've been test optional since before the pandemic, so we've been doing this for quite some time now. I know this is a very big topic with parents thinking, is it really test optional? I think you should still take tests. Like, what do they really want to see? So I will always give my full answer. A very honest answer is that the university and my admissions team, we really don't care too much about test scores anymore. Specifically, we are working on becoming a test blind school, meaning that if you submit test scores, we wouldn't see them at all. So if that gives you any, further clarification on how much we care about test scores, but for those of you who will still like to submit test scores, no worries. We always just say, submit them if they fall within our averages. So for the SAT, that's 1130 to 1310. And for the ACT, that's going to be 22 to 28. So if you fall within any of those averages or above, definitely go ahead and submit your scores. But again, we don't care too much about the application process about test scores. Letters of recommendation are also optional. If you can get one, great. And if you can't get one, great as well. No worries. Alrighty, and for the different deadlines, early action and early decision, those are going to be due November 1st. It does not matter if that is a Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. The deadline is always November 1st for us. The same goes for regular decision that's going to be due on January 15th. A lot of students will ask me, is there any difference in applying early or regular? Will you look at my application more harshly if it's regular instead of early? The answer is always no. We look at applications exactly the same in both early action and regular decision. The two biggest differences with these deadlines is first, early action and early decision, you will hear back earlier. The turnaround time for that is you will hear back before Christmas. It's a really fast turnaround time. So if you are eager to know, will I get in? And if so, let's say yes, then you'll have more time to plan visits to campus, just keep that in the back of your mind. So, like this is always an option. Or if you'd like to take some more time, work on your application and apply regular, that's no problem. For regular decision, we will see your first semester senior year grades. So this is also really good if you're challenging yourself with a lot of APs and you want us to see that, you're doing well in the class. I always recommend students then apply regular. But again, they really mean no difference in terms of how we analyze them. We look at all applications the same. Reviewing tuition and financial aid for USF. Tuition you will see is listed right there along with room and board. Add those together. That is your estimated first year of attendance cost. I know the first thought in my head as well when I looked at these numbers is that's a very big number. As a private school, especially in California as well, our numbers tend to be on the higher side. But to, again, alleviate parents of that stress and anxiety looking at the numbers first, I do like to point out that first bullet point, and that is 92% of the student body at USF is receiving some sort of either merit or financial aid. So I'm going to go into the differences between those really quick and then how you can acquire those. Merit scholarships is what's given from the admissions office. So that's my team. Merit scholarships at USF are solely based on your grades. We do not take into account any extracurriculars, your essay, any letters of recommendation. The merit scholarship itself is solely based on grades. The highest merit award we are offering this year is around $27,000. That would cut your tuition in half. And again, merit scholarships can only be applied to your tuition. Now I'm going to talk about financial aid, a little bit different. Financial aid is something you have to apply for. This is need-based aid given out through FAFSA, Federal Financial Aid. So FAFSA, again, you can see here that the average aid package that is FAFSA is around $40,000 that's given out. And that's the average. There are packages that are bigger and there are packages that are smaller. That's the average aid package our office is able to give out. Just a clarification for families is that financial aid is a completely separate office from admissions. So if you ever have any questions or want to talk about that more, we are more than happy to discuss that at the admissions office, but financial aid has its own counselors as well. And they can help you out a lot more than I can, I always like to say. So financial aid, you have to apply for it. There are either grants or loans that are offered to you. Grants are essentially gift aid where you don't have to pay it back. However, if you are offered a loan through financial aid, you don't have to take it because it's optional, but loans do have to be paid back. So all of these numbers are on our website. If you want to take a look into that, it has the admissions email as well as the financial aid email for any other questions. And with that, that's the end of my short little presentation for the University of San Francisco and private schools alike. Definitely stay connected with us on Instagram and TikTok at USFCA_admission, because again, for all the students in the room here or present watching this later, I really do like to give out as much advice as I can about applying to schools, what to put on your Common App, how to describe your activities in the best way possible so we understand. So again, give that a follow. It's some free advice. But other than that, my name is Alyssa, and thank you so much for listening to this presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. It was great. I certainly learned so much every time I listen to these presentations. So I really appreciate the UCs, the CSUs, USF, all joining us tonight. There were actually a few questions in the Q&A that I thought that was really interesting. And I invite any family members who are still here joining us to also type it in if you want. And so our panelists can either answer them by typing it back into there, or could actually answer live now that we're done with our presentation. We have just a couple minutes, and I would like to kind of open the floor, if you will, and see if anybody is able to answer any question. I will also ask the panelists, is there anything that you would like to add or further explain, especially if maybe you saw something in the Q&A that you would like to maybe mention verbally, in case some of our viewers are not able to read the Q&A for some reason?
I can add in something really quick about financial aid. So FAFSA is always due June 1st. That deadline never changes. However, I always tell families and students, submit it as quick as you can. Submit it around the same time that you are submitting your application to schools, because then our financial aid team can work as fast as they can to get you that package around the same time you hear a decision. So it's not due until June 1st, but it really helps us to get it in as early as possible.
I would also like to add for the FAFSA, it's the free application for federal student aid. And you can contact Miss Caroline Mawala at Aragon. She is our financial aid and scholarship advisor, and she is going to be going in and presenting to juniors and talking to parents. So if you have any questions, you can contact myself or Miss Mawala, and we will take you through the process.
One of the things I like to add is that we tell students on your UC application is pretty much who you are, your personal story. So brag about yourself, share information that you want us to know about who you are, because every campus is very competitive and each campus receives a different applicant pool. So the more we know about you, the more we can make an informed decision. So through your personal insight questions, it's important that you share, if you like to talk about your struggles, maybe some challenges you may have faced, talk about how you overcame those challenges. What did you do to persevere through those challenges? Give us a full picture of who you are. Don't think of leaving any information off, because when you leave information off that you may think is not important to us, it is important to us. And when you leave that off the application, that is a missed opportunity. So it's important that you outline as much information about who you are to us, and we give you ample opportunity within the application itself, as also within the personal insight questions, to share that information.
I do want to add something really quickly. So at San Jose State and at a lot of these universities, we actually have pre-admission counselors that you can talk to. For us specifically at San Jose State, we have hours that you can do walk-ins. We also have a virtual front desk, and I'll go ahead and post a link in the chat so that if you have any questions regarding specifically San Jose State, we can answer very vastly or general questions about the CSU system. But I know a lot of students come up with questions about impaction and what does that mean when they're applying. So definitely take advantage of those resources. And then it looks different at every other campus, but I'm sure every other campus also has a similar resource as well.
We do have a question in the Q&A, and it says, do your admission systems have a line of sight to where else students are applying? So, and I'm just kind of making the assumption that maybe perhaps this is more towards the UCs or CSUs, whereas this one main application and your campuses are under the same umbrella like the UCs or CSUs. So for Timothy, can you share with us in terms of the UC, do you know if where else that student is applying to?
So one of the things that we do in the system is that we review your application independent of one another, meaning that if you're applying to other UC campuses, we're not going to have a conversation with counselors from those campuses stating, hey, where are you with this particular applicant? Are you admitting? Are you denying? We don't talk to each other. We just review you independent of the other schools that you applied to. So do keep that in mind. I also want to add to that we do review you within the context of your own environment. I believe there was a question that was asked earlier, very similar to, is there priority given to students coming from a specific high school. And within our system, we don't give priority per se to students coming from one high school or another high school, but we just review you within the context of those students within your high school. We don't compare you to students from other high schools in your district or other high schools in other districts. So that's how the UCs work. It may be a little bit different than other UC, other campuses. So like my other colleagues speak to that.
So for the CSUs, it's also evaluated campus and individually campus to campus. And we do have like the minimum requirements, which is just meeting your A through G classes and also having a 2.0 minimum to apply. But in recent years, because of impaction and different factors, at San Jose State and other campus, that has increased to a 2.5, and that is the minimum in order to just for your application to be considered. Of course, if you're applying to programs like computer engineering, there is your math GPA that is taken into account, as well as other additional factors that go into that impaction process and conclude the student's index as well.
And just for private schools on the Common App, I can't see where anyone else is applying to.
Right.
I see if you're applying here, that's it.
Melissa, we get that question all the time as far as early action, early decision. Do private schools, Common App schools follow that? And yeah, as we tell the students, no.
Great. So thank you so much. We just
One last, just sort of a plug for one of our workshops coming up for juniors. May 12th, I believe 6:30, we'll be sending out the information. A representative from University of Indiana, Kenny Tran, will be presenting the Common App essay. So save the date, May 12th, 6:30 in the evening. We will be sending out the Zoom link for that.
And Common App specifically is only for private schools, whether in California as well as out of state. And actually some out of state public schools are also on the Common App as well. So and that would be for anyone who's interested in a Common App. And I do believe there are going to be sessions also from the UC system that will talk specifically about the personal insight questions, also known as the PIQs. And at Aragon, we will also promote that during the senior year, and we will have more sessions on that. In addition, the counseling office will be heading into the junior classes to present and talk about where to find all these applications. We talked about the colleges tonight. We talked about all of the eligibility for private schools, for UCs and CSUs. So now what are the next steps? What do we need to do to get your students prepared to utilize this summer to make sure that our students are not kind of just waiting until the fall semester of the senior year to get their applications done? Because you got to remember that during senior year also is some of our very heavy course load that's happening. Many of our students are taking AP classes. Many of them are taking other honors or advanced classes, or even concurrent enrollment, taking different classes, or even holding down a job, taking on different responsibilities, leadership positions on their sports teams, you name it. So much is happening senior year. So whatever we can do to prepare them for the applications, whether it's getting a jump start of writing their personal statements for Common App, to the PIQs, to starting putting together a resume and writing down a list of all of their accomplishments, awards, activities, and that because that will be needed for all of the applications, including the CSUs. So that we will be going to the classrooms to talk about that. And we will have that presentations, the PowerPoint, we will also have that online once we are done presenting in your students' classes.
Right. And one last plug for our college rep visits. We will be having our college rep visits again. I am not sure, probably our presenters would be able to tell me whether we're going to be live on campus or we're going to be Zooming again next year. with our district Zoom we put together. So just students look forward to meeting our representatives here tonight. You'll be meeting them again possibly during our college representative visits that we have, and we will be working on that. We're working on that right now as a district, deciding if it's going to be live for each school or virtual. And we did have a question: does Aragon High School offer essay prep sessions for seniors?
Oh, do you want to answer that?
You go. No, you go.
So we will have an essay, we will have basically sessions about the essays. We will not have a session like a one-on-one, a little bit more detailed where the presenter will be working one-on-one with the student. We will kind of give guidelines, and there's a lot of information online, both on a lot of the different private school websites on how to complete the Common App essay, as well as their supplemental essays. And then the UCs also do a really good job on having, I believe even University of Santa Barbara has a YouTube video about the personal insight questions. So please check that out. And so because of the private schools is so varied in terms of the questions, I would really suggest the student to reach out to those campuses individually. There is, I believe it's 8 questions on the Common App, and you could choose one where you could then write that's your main one. But like I said, there's a lot of supplemental essays that is required for many of our private schools. So definitely get started on those essays sooner rather than later, because we want to make sure you have enough time. And then lastly, this will be the last question of the night that snuck in the chat. I wanted to make sure our panelists were able to see this, particularly for Timothy. It asked if you could ask about the acceptance, or excuse me, asked if you can comment or explain the acceptance rates from Berkeley and UCLA. And I don't know if you know of the acceptance rates for all the UCs.
Right, that's a great question. I don't know the acceptance rates for all the UCs. They will vary, of course. At UC Merced, we do have the highest acceptance rate amongst all the UC campuses. Our acceptance rate this past year was 87%. One of the things I want you to understand when you're looking at acceptance rates is that every UC campus has a different applicant pool, and the numbers are going to vary across the board. So there's going to be a different denominator. So if you get a campus, for example, like UC Merced, this past year, we received a little over 30,000 applications. And being that we are a new campus, we have the space to accommodate the majority of those students who apply. So our acceptance rate is going to be higher. Now, if you look at a campus like UCLA, this year received in excess of 140,000 applications for first-year students. They don't have 140,000 spaces or spots available. So they have to be a little bit more different in how they review their applicants. You're going to get a lower acceptance rate because of the volume of applications that they're receiving. But one thing to note is that in any case situation, the quality is the same across the board. We are a UC, one university, 9 campuses. So the quality is across the board, regardless if you attend a school like Berkeley, UCLA, UC Merced, UC Riverside. So take that into account when you're applying. Don't think that a school that has a higher acceptance rate is an easier school overall, because it's just based, again, on the space availability and the applicant pool, the number of students who are applying to that particular campus.
Thank you, Timothy. And thank you, everyone else, Alyssa, Itzel, and actually Axel, too. I know he had to just jump off for another meeting. So I really appreciate everyone here tonight and answering the questions. I hope our families were able to gain further insights on our different campuses. And of course, like Mrs. Lori Tezak mentioned, the counseling office, she and I are always available to answer your questions. And you could reach us through our email or give us a call, and all our contact information is listed on our website. Thank you so much tonight. Thank you for coming. And and yes, it will be uploaded onto YouTube probably tomorrow, or definitely by the end of the week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.